Hey guys, welcome back. It's getting to that time of the year. It's May, so that means it's graduation season. Whether you're graduating from high school, whether you're graduating from college, whether you're not graduating, whether you've already graduated, I think this video will be somewhat beneficial to you guys. So I didn't script this video. I'm just gonna speak because I feel like it must, like, the things that I want to say. So to give you guys a little context, I started watching a Korean drama called Sky Castle. It's one of the best K-dramas of, I think, 2018. It is about the elites of Seoul. These parents, these doctors, these lawyers spend so much money and effort and time into grooming their kids to become to just go to a good college. They don't even groom them to become good people. It's just you exist for me to send you to college and for me to brag about you and for me to have pride and for me to fulfill the voids and to project my insecurities and the things that I couldn't accomplish when I was younger onto you, like onto like the next generation. So when I was watching this show, I felt a lot of feelings that I didn't think that I would feel. Seeing, I don't know, maybe it's because I've been pretty removed from that. I'm not in college anymore. The people that I surround myself with don't value people based off of their status or their work or how much money they make or what college they went to. But seeing that just made me realize that it is the reality of our society and it is the reality of what I went through when I went to college and even when I was in high school, getting into college. And then I went to a good college. I thought that's what I was supposed to do. Go to a good college, get a good job, and you'll be happy. Your parents will be happy. Everyone will think you're living a good life and you're doing the right thing, but like it's not like that at all. Even in the drama, you have a 50-year-old man who throws a tantrum at his mom, who's now a grandma, that like, you've controlled my life for my whole life. You told me to go to a good school, so I went to a good school. You told me to be a doctor, so I became a doctor. You told me to be the president of the hospital, so I became the president of the hospital. But now that like life is happening and things are happening, I don't know what to do with my life. And I think that is it. Like, if we don't define what's important to us and if we don't define what success means to us, we allow other people and outside circumstances to define that for us, and it's a slippery slope, And along with that, I feel that we are so much more than our grades. We're so much more than numbers. We're so much more than our GPA, so much more than our SAT scores. And when we graduate, we're so much more than our jobs. Like, we aren't defined by our jobs. We aren't defined by these numbers. And these things shouldn't define us either, because we are people, and people shouldn't define people based off of numbers and stats and the job that you have. But that being said, that's like kind of how the world works. But I think if more people become aware and just start doing something about it to combat that and to remind each other that there's so much more to life than these quite trivial numbers. I did a Q&A on my Instagram stories where you guys asked me questions about college, graduation, post-grad, and I'll get into the Q&A in another video, but a lot of questions were uncertainty, pressures from parents, pressures from society, should you take a gap year? Like, so many questions that I feel like we don't talk about this enough. Yes, you should take a gap year. No one, like, it's very uncommon in the United States to take a gap year, but in Europe and Australia, before high school to college, college to work, it's common to take a gap year. Just seeing the world and seeing how the world works will help you just figure out who you are and realize how lucky we are to be able to live where we live and to be able to do what we do and have the choices that we have, to choose our majors, to choose our career paths, to choose like all of these things. And I think another thing I want to talk about is that getting to know yourself, like spending the time to get to know yourself in the long run will be so much more valuable to you than spending time to get good grades. Because then comes the question of like, why are you getting good grades for? Who are you getting good grades for? If you've been doing stuff because you feel like you should, or you feel like you need to, or you're getting pressure, or you're getting pressure from your parents or from people around you, then I think that's really when it's important to take a step back to be like, okay, why? Why am I doing any of the things that I'm doing? And on that note, like talking to parents, I feel like this is so fragmented, but I'm just gonna let it flow. With parents, I think it's important to remember that parents are human and that they have their own set of strengths and weaknesses and flaws that they're working through. And it's easy, regardless if you're a parent or not, it's easy for humans to project your unhappiness and your insecurities onto other people, especially if that's like that tiny person is from you, so you feel like you can control them. So from that perspective, it's we can communicate with them if we really try. It might take a while, it might take a long time, but to me, it's we are responsible for our own lives. Our parents aren't responsible for our lives. They're responsible for their lives. And like, yeah, I guess they're responsible for you too, but there will come a time where, you know, our parents are older than us, so they will probably depart before us. So when they do depart, and let's say you lived your life for them for your whole lives, when they're not here, then what are you gonna do if parents aren't there to tell you what to do? So I think with all of that is just saying that our parents are humans too. They have their flaws. They're awesome, but like we're humans, so we all have flaws. And trying to help them understand where you're coming from if you don't want to do the things that they're telling you to do, or like too much pressure, anything that with communication and with the heart and with the determination to make something happen, like you can definitely make it happen. There will always be uncertainties in life. If you guys like BTS, you guys have probably read Namjoon or Rap Monsters. You know, he writes sometimes and he's always questioning himself. He doesn't know if he's doing the right thing. He doesn't know if he's doing enough. There's so much to do. Like, which path does he take? And I think that just very much, like, it encapsulates so much of what life is, that there really is no, I think I've come to learn that there really is no right path, because our paths are the culmination of experiences and decisions, and like everything adds and like builds into this path that we're walking. And no matter which path you take, they'll ultimately lead to like that one path that you're supposed to walk. So do what you can where you are. Never stop fighting for what you believe in. Never stop dreaming, but also trust in yourself and trust in the universe that there is like something for you. All of that was just to say, even the most successful people openly share that I am struggling. I don't know what's gonna come. I don't know what the future holds. There's always going to be uncertainty in our lives. Because think about it this way. If we want stuff, if we're ambitious, if we want something for ourselves, we're always climbing a mountain, right? And when you reach the top of a mountain and you look around you, there will be many, many more mountains for us to scale. And once we scale another mountain, there will be many, many more mountains, because that's just human nature. It's what it means to be human. Like, we want things and we do things and we chase things. And this could be in the form of you want to keep bettering yourself, and there's one mountain and you overcome it, and then you look inward at yourself and you ask yourself again, like, okay, can I be better? Can I do better? And the question's always, yeah, we can always be better. We can always do better. Same thing with work, same thing with our careers, same thing with our relationships, like how we are with our friends. Every aspect of our lives, we're always continually scaling multiple mountains at a time. They can be big mountains, they can be little mountains, but once we overcome one, there's many, many more to come. So I think the sooner, like when I was able to realize and internalize and process this, the more I was just like, well, if the rest of my life is going to be so unpredictable and unpredictable, and that these things are gonna keep coming up and I just need to kind of roll with the punches and go with the flow, then there's no rush to define what it is that I'm doing. I think that's one thing that I struggle with the most, of like trying to figure out what is my path. Like, I need to know what my path is before I walk it. But now I'm like, just walk it and then your path will reveal itself. It's kind of like in Indiana Jones, maybe the third movie, I might be wrong, where he goes through a cave and then he reaches this like cliff, and then he needs to get to the other side, and it just like drops off, and then he like just takes a walk, and then he like an invisible bridge comes out. It's kind of like that, you know, where you just walk your path, and then the path will reveal itself. So yeah, I'm actually rushing to go to the airport, but I just felt like I wanted to share this right now in this state, as it's a little more raw and fresh. It's so easy to look externally, and it's so easy to look outward for answers, and to look outward for validation, or to look outward for what it means to be successful, or what defines success. But I think if we're able to look inward and ask ourselves these questions of, what does it mean to be successful? Why do I do the things that I do? Why am I going to school? Why am I getting good grades? Like, if you really ask yourselves these questions, you'll be able to, like, you'll actually learn a lot more about yourself, and maybe even find encouragement and motivation in doing the things that you're doing, and to continue doing the things that you're doing with like more gusto and with more like confidence. A part of confidence comes from accepting the unknown and knowing that life's gonna happen, and the best that we can do is do the best where we are with what we have, and accept ourselves for who we are, embrace ourselves for who we are, and know that things will work out. I mean, I know that's a very cliche thing to say, but whoa, I'm so bright. But yeah, like, if you really believe that things will work out, then like things will work out. And I think the most important thing I want you guys to take away from this video is that you are not your grades. Like, you're not these numbers. And if someone could have told me this when I was younger, I mean, I've kind of always already known this, but people around me, like, I don't know, we're all so caught up in our own worlds. And when you're younger, when I was younger, I wasn't as close with my parents, so I wouldn't share these things with them. But now that I'm older, I hope this helped you, to remind you that you are awesome. You're not your grades. And no matter what other people are telling you, no matter what society is telling you, no matter what anyone else is trying to tell you to do, before answering to any of that and allowing that pressure to consume you, turn it inward and ask yourself why. And with that, I'll see you guys in next week's video. Bye! Yeah, I'm rushing to the airport. I'm going back home to LA for a wedding, and my cousin's gonna get engaged, and I need to go because I'm gonna be late. Okay, bye!